Hello and welcome to Falcon Blues TV. We know it's been a while, stop moaning. So we're just going to do a bit of a derby preview, and with me is our super statistician. See, I'm starting to say that word right now. It's Callum Wyatt. Callum, thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate you, taking the afternoon to join us. How have you been? Everything going okay?
Yeah, all good. So good to see that obviously, things are getting back to a little bit of normality now, especially with the football. I think obviously the Premier League have jumped through hoops, haven't they, to try and get the season finished and whatever. And so far, touch wood, it's all good and all well so far.
Yeah. So with that then, the Premier League came back on Wednesday. Sheffield United played Aston Villa to a 0-0 draw, and City played Arsenal 4-0 in the end. 4-0 win.
3-0.
3-0. Yeah. What did you make of the two games? I didn't watch the first game because it was too early for me with the kids and everything, but I managed to watch the City game.
The first game wasn't great in terms of watching. It was, it was a scrappy game, but obviously had that massive instant, didn't you, with the goal line technology, which just sort of failed, which obviously was massive in terms of relegation battle at the moment. If Aston Villa stay up by a point, the absolute scene if that happens.
It almost reminds me. I know it was a foul in the end, but it almost reminds me of Terry Phelan clearing it off the line against Bolton.
Yeah.
And we scraped by that season because of that. Now, if Hawkeye was in and working, and VAR and everything, would it have given an offside? Would have given the free kick for the foul on Southall and stuff like that? But it everything flooded back to me there, and that whole year, I was like, oh my god, that was so. And it was such a grim time anyway. But then to think about where that was, and to think, like you say, relegation battle for Villa, and they stay up by a point.
And European battle for Sheffield United.
Exactly, yeah.
Was livid after that. Obviously not being given that goal for it to obviously try and catch Manchester United or whatever. So it's 2 points drop for them, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Do you expect that it's the derby and anything can happen on Sunday? But the other games that are coming up, Norwich, Southampton as well, they've got to get it right now, haven't they? I know Hawkeye wasn't working for whatever reason, but it's got to be 100% now. It's got to be back up and running.
Yeah. Like you were saying before, Aston Villa manager was saying that it's the first time that Hawkeye hasn't worked in like so many thousand games. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to get it right, especially now. Like Bournemouth coming up and playing Norwich, West Ham, all them teams are going to be relying on obviously, that type of technology to maybe it might help them. It could be the difference between staying up and going down. So you've got to get it spot on, to be fair.
Yeah. So with that then comes on to Everton finally joining the race and getting back in the saddle, if you like. I don't know why I'm using horse analogies. I think it's because we were watching Ascot before. The 236 Merseyside derby is again, it's one for the history books. This one, I don't like to try and use history and say this is, because it's not a good thing. It's not a good reason why we're here. It's not a good reason why we're having to play this game behind closed doors. But it's something that we will say. I was following Everton during that period when we just completely shut down the entire country, including football, including bars and pubs and restaurants and everything else. And you've gone, and even football had to be played behind closed doors. You've seen it happen in Italy for the wrong reasons, for racism and that kind of stuff. So to see something like this is unprecedented. But it's what have you made of it? Not just in terms of the actual football, but just the build up, the atmosphere or lack of atmosphere and stuff like that.
I think social media obviously been a massive part, hasn't it, in terms of obviously, is it going to get back on when obviously having lockdown for so long, people were losing their sanity. You couldn't go out. There was no football on unless you were watching Belarus League or whatever. So to have something back now, I think it's a massive help in terms of mentality, in terms of people's sanity. Obviously, the football is back. So, but again, it's going to be a long time now until we're back at Goodison. Obviously, watching games week in, week out. Do you reckon it could be, January 2021, which is a long time off? But we need to do it, and it needs to happen until obviously this virus is obviously gone forever, really. So
yeah, that's it. But in terms of obviously they're saying you see pretty much every tweet that you see is football without fans is nothing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. 100% it is.
Well,
Even watching the Man City game the other day, obviously no fans there is a massive thing. You know, even if you're watching it on television, and especially if you're there. But I think there's speaking about, obviously fans make up football, which they do. But then in terms of watching the game, when they were having it with no sound on, in terms of no fan voiceover, I thought it was like literally couldn't watch it.
no,
It was unwatchable.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like if you'd always watch football that way, you'd be fine. But going from watching it with there's all the build-up, there's the fans outside the ground getting interviewed, the fans inside the ground, all the noise with inside, and hearing that atmosphere on the television, to then going to having nothing.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't watch that on telly. It's surreal watching that. I had to turn a few games off because I couldn't get my head around it.
Yeah, it's like switching off a light, isn't it? It's just like, okay, all of that's gone.
Yeah.
Deal with it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I started watching some of the Bundesliga games, and I was like the opening couple, and I was like, I can't watch this because there's just no atmosphere, there's no drive, there's nothing.
It's like going down to your local park, wasn't it? And just watching people have a little kick about and whatever and taking the trade.
Yeah.
There's no you know.
And you see that. I think you see that from the results as well. You know, like 3 and 4 goals scored in the game. It's like half the time that's probably never going to happen. But only because it feels like so much like a training game. You're almost like, oh yeah, just go and let him score.
Yeah.
Especially when you're watching. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dortmund are absolutely fantastic. So buying. So you're going to expect goals, but do you know what I mean? You see other teams just going, can't be asked. You know what I mean? It's almost like teams don't want to be there.
I think as well with the home and away advantage, that's gone out the window. You know, you look at the Bundesliga now, away teams are winning for fun, so all that home advantage now is sort of, it's gone. And I said this at the start, I feel for the likes of the West Hams, the Bournemouth, even Norwich to an extent. Obviously they're never going to get out of it, but in terms of that, having that 12th man as your fans, it's massive. You look at, you know, in seasons gone past where, you know, a home team's gone on a little run, beating big teams and whatever, but mainly down to the atmosphere within inside the ground. That's gone now.
Yeah.
So it's also you've lost it until it's a level playing field again. So it's not good to see. Like
we saw on Wednesday there that they played. I think it was more for the audience rather than everything. Like, you know, the people watching on, where they played crowd noises over. Yeah. Was that? Do you wonder if that was actually pumped into the ground as well, just to try and, I don't know, I won't say G up the players, but almost to give them a sense of like, well, actually, you know, there can be an atmosphere, you can feel something, you know. Yeah. Just so you're not kicking around in a ghost town, you know what I mean?
It's probably good for them to hear that, so obviously have a bit more, so it's not like a training game, but also probably to have like noises rather than someone getting told the rubbish every 3 seconds, like Tom Davies or someone like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's probably like quite a positive environment to play in. But it was crazy though, because someone must have been controlling that throughout the game. Every time there's a shot that was missed, it was like, ooh, and all that kind of thing. So it's crazy the way that they've done it. And
I think got involved or something.
I think it was a lot more watchable, I think, with the sound like that, rather than just having nothing at all. But mixed opinions on Twitter and stuff, and people thought it was rubbish, but I thought it was okay.
So as we're going into the derby then on Sunday, Father's Day as well. I mean, when they announced it was going to be on the 20th, I was like, I'm all right with this. I'm all right with it being on the Saturday. And then all of a sudden they gone, no, it's going to be on Father's Day. And I was like, City better fucking win.
Yeah.
City better win, because this is going to ruin my Father's Day completely.
Even see, for example, Liverpool win, City play Burnley, don't they, before Liverpool play their next game? So they could actually win it before playing again, if you know what I mean. So I think City should beat Burnley. Like.
Yeah, I think it's just a relief to Evertonians really that they can't win it at Goodison.
Oh yeah, massively.
I don't think we'd have been able to handle it. Really,
no.
I think to me it is a league. You know, void the league. You know, that's my opinion, because I think, you know, the things that are going on socially, you know, it just spin it off and just rip it up and start again when it's safe to do so. But at the same time, you think, well, actually, you know, we've got to finish this league. It's got to be done. And you know, Sky and the FA have all just gone, financially, it needs to be done because this could bankrupt a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
Same with the Championship. Same with same with the likes of Burnley. I mean, I remember reading about Burnley, basically working on a hand to mouth, month by month basis. And the money that's coming in from revenue streams, from ticket sales and stuff like that, they're living off that. They're not living off like what Everton would do, where we've now got a beneficiary who can look after the club for an extended period of time. These clubs that are like hand to mouth every month, paying the players,
relying on
it.
Don't they, every week? And sometimes 80% of their income obviously goes out on players' wages and stuff. So that's why teams need to spend within the means, because when this has happened, obviously it's caught up with them big time. Like you said, if it didn't carry on the Premier League, a lot of teams would be in trouble.
Okay, so we're going into the derby then on Sunday.
Yeah.
To me, no expectations here. I'm not confident because of the threadbare side that we've got. But looking back on past form and the way the team have settled in since Ancelotti, it's been a lot more. I won't say the results have been brilliant, but I would say they've been a lot more steady than what they were under Silva, under Allardyce, under Koeman, blah, 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 blah. So, as a regular stato then, Callum, how, what's the form been like for Everton in, since, probably go from January really, or since Ancelotti took over?
Well, coincidentally, this game on Sunday will be Carlo Ancelotti's 13th game in charge, if you include the FA Cup defeat to Liverpool. So he's had 11 games so far, 18 points from 33. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin, top scorer with 8, and Richarlison with 4. We've scored 17, conceded 17. Conceded far too many goals, really. And obviously, our worst defeat was the 4-0 against Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I know that I've seen on Twitter before that he was asked questions about the game on Sunday and how he's going to approach it, and it looks like he's going to stick with a 4-4-2.
Right.
Which, if you go off the last game against Chelsea, it wasn't great. I thought we really, really struggled, and I'm surprised really that he hasn't. Well, he mightn't change it for that game. Obviously, sent you my team before and what I would have played.
Yeah.
Which the first one you probably wouldn't have been happy with, but I just thought in terms of containing them, it might have worked well. Obviously, my first team I went with. I didn't see your team. You can go through yours as well. But my first one was Pickford in goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at yours as well. I'm just going back to it.
Yeah. Pickford in goal.
Just before we do, because this is what happens when we record in the house. It's going to let the dog back in.
Yeah, go on.
Quick technical issue there, folks. We're back. Yeah, go ahead. So, your team for your.
So, I was thinking in terms of their front three. Obviously, got Mane, Salah, and Firmino. Salah potentially could be out for the game on Sunday, which would be massive.
I heard that before, yeah.
Yeah, so he's obviously top goal scorer for them this season. So Coleman, Sidibe, Holgate, Keane and Dean at the back, which will leave us 3 in midfield with Iwobi, Davis and Gomez, and keeping Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front. I like who?
You like Iwobi?
I just think in that midfield we've got no one who can run. And you put Sigurdsson in there, he's too slow.
Yeah.
Davis gets around as much as he can. Gomez hasn't got, he's not quick. He's come back from injury. And you look at their midfield 3, you've got Fabinho, Henderson, got an absolute engine on him. And Wijnaldum. I just think we just can't cope with it. You go back to the game last season, the 0-0, which I think Ancelotti would have watched a lot of. We sort of went into a 4-4-2 mid-press, didn't we, with Sigurdsson dropping in there, Calvert-Lewin. So we did have 3 midfielders on there, but obviously it's totally different when you drop into a 4-4-2 mid-block with Richarlison, because he's not a midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
So if the pivot player then drops in, Richarlison hasn't got not like the capability, but the know-how in terms of how to play as a midfielder, because he's a centre forward. So that's why I thought he might change, or he might have put Richarlison left, and maybe throw, I don't know, Sigurdsson upside, Calvert-Lewin again maybe. So if you do lose the ball in deeper areas, Sigurdsson can go and help out in the three-man midfield.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Chelsea game, you know, we got absolutely annihilated in that midfield with Davis and Gomez when Gilmour was just dropping in the half spaces because the gap between Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin and midfield two was too far. And we just struggled all game, 4-0, and we had one shot on target in the whole game.
Yeah.
So but he's going to stick with 4-4-2, but I'd really be nervous about that if you're going to play Gomez and Davis in there again, to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see.
Would you look at... Obviously, Everton really haven't got much to play for at the moment, unless we can get a result out of this. But would you look at the likes of Ellis Sims or, you know, the younger lads coming in as a potential backup, or would you, you know, I know it's a big game to throw them in at. Probably not Ellis Sims, but you know, is there anyone else you'd want to see in?
Yeah, well, the other team that I've done, if we were going to go toe to toe with them, and you know, probably play 4-3-3, would have been Sidibe, Holgate, Keane, and Dean with Gomez, Davis, Iwobi, and the front three of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, and Gordon.
Yeah,
I think you know, I know it's only training, but Gordon looked really sharp. And he's definitely given Bernard a run for his money, for sure. Yeah. The thing about Gordon as well, he can actually put a decent ball into the box, just cross in the 11v11 training game, put it on right on Keane's head, didn't he, for that goal? So the kid can play. I've seen a lot of him. I used to see a lot of him at Finch Farm, and he played in under 18s. Top player.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely one of them that's pushing for a start. I know Moise Keane didn't train on Wednesday.
Right.
But he's trained today, so I don't know what that was for. But obviously, I don't think he'll start. But it's good to see that obviously he's trained today. It's an extra body for us if we need him.
Definitely.
Come on, and do a job. But yeah, it's real. What I'd say, back against the wall in terms of players available. Because you've got Baines, Coleman, Dean, Keane, Holgate, Sidibe, and then midfield. You know, you're struggling. You've got Iwobi, Gomez, Davis, Sigurdsson, and then Bernard and Gordon. And then obviously Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, and then Keane and Nias. It's not the greatest bench in the world potentially, is it?
It's not. I mean, when you look at the players who are out at the moment, and obviously Fabian Delph is obviously, you know, I don't think he'll ever play for Everton again at this rate. Yerry Mina is out, Theo Walcott's out, Schneiderlin is out, and obviously Jean-Philippe Gbamin is still, you know, sick noted until October. I think Ancelotti's come out and said it's going to be about 4 or 5 months.
Then 5 months, you reckon, another 5 months out for or whatever. So yeah, it's
not so bad really when you think there's a run of games here that we just got to get through. I mean, even if he was fit, I don't think with the number of games that we've got to play in that short period, either being fit.
There's no way Gomez is going to play all them games.
No.
You've got 3 games in 9 days. And 4 games in 12, you know. So there's not just 3 days later. Then you've got a week break. Then haven't you? Yeah. So you might get Yeah. So you know, Delph might come back. I have to come back in. For them games, it's too many games. But as I said, it's how high can we finish up the table now? You know, what can we look to realistically achieve? Really.
Yeah.
Can we push and get into the top 8 maybe?
Well, I was just reading there as well that if we were to finish, if 7th is a possibility for us, that if we were to do that, we wouldn't actually be entered into the Carabao Cup for next season.
Oh yeah,
the top 7th.
Was that not really an option for you? It's like that literally what happens. Is that what they're trying to do?
I think because of what's going to happen, because of the whole COVID-19 situation, that if you're in the top 7, then you wouldn't be entered for the Carabao Cup because of your European duties.
Yeah.
So it's how you weigh that up with Everton really. It's whether you like, well, do you want a run in Europe?
If you've got previous seasons, we never take it seriously anyway, do we? Always get knocked out in it. Obviously, Leicester was really unlucky, but probably the best chance that we had. And the season before, we get beat by Southampton. Season before on Silver, I played a weekend team and whatever. So it's a cup that we've never taken seriously, I don't think. And it's probably one of the only cups we could have really gone all out for. It's disappointing, really, to be honest.
Yeah. I think because you're going to end up probably still playing that Thursday, Sunday, once everything gets back to normal. it's probably better to not have that one cup in there. But at the same time, you think, well, it's another chance at a pot. And I think Ancelotti wouldn't be the one taking. If you're taking every cup serious, I don't think he'd be sacrificing the Carabao Cup just to stay 8th, 9th in the league. I think he'd be going all out for it, because as an Evertonian, I'd want us to be involved in every cup.
Yeah.
No, and I mean that's just my greediness more than anything. I think.
I think you're 100% right there, but I'm just thinking, we'll come on to a bit, but in terms of going forward, I've got the squad in front of me here, and the squad is just so big. And even you look at the bench, Baines has been a great player, Coleman, they're all players that are coming to the end of the careers. You've got Martina, when's his contract run out? Nias' contract run out soon.
Yeah.
Literally going to have a bench there of, at least 2 or 3 under 23 players on that bench.
You're going to have to, aren't you?
Each week, unless Ancelotti, like he's trying to do now, is, get his transfer targets together. But, I think for next season, in terms of starting 11, I think he needs 5 players.
Yeah.
He needs 5 and starting 11 alone.
Especially with the likes of, Delph is your constant injury. We don't know what kind of player Gbamin comes back like. Walcott is either here nor there, and then Schneiderlin looks like he's on his way to Nice. We were talking about that earlier yesterday when we were chatting while we were trying to put this together. Yeah, and that's a massive. Whilst it's a massive wedge off the wage bill, it's a massive amount of money to lose. Yeah, massive. What are they buying for? Between 15 and 20 million. There's a 25 million one in the end. Yeah, selling for 2 million. Obviously wages to get off the bill are really good, but it's one of them, isn't it? Massive loss on it. And this is a problem that you've got, the Thiago Silva saga, which has been going around on Twitter. Everyone's saying no, he's on too many wages and whatever, but if he was on 120, 130 grand a week, you're paying Snaggle on that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, you were saying 140,000 euros, so that you were working it out at like around about 80,000, 90,000 pounds. Something like that. Yeah. I'm not sure the exchange rate. You know how it normally works. They're knocking about like 50 grand off or something like that. But I think they were looking at around about 90 grand a week for Thiago Silva. Yeah. 35 years of age, 34, 35, isn't he now? And do you think he could do it in the Premier League? Week in, week out. I mean, you know what I mean. I know it's more of like he's not going to be playing week in, week out. But you think the pace of the Premier League compared to the French league is completely different. Yeah, I certainly think that the amount of games that you're playing in a short space of time would probably have an effect. But you look at Gareth Barry when he came to us, not how good he was, but in terms of age, he'd always reduce workload and work that around his age, so they wouldn't have him on the same as what Mason Holgate's doing anyway. Yeah. So he'd obviously structure his workload differently to a Holgate or whatever. I certainly think that he's got so much experience, and how much could he bring? But you look at Ancelotti. Ancelotti bought him for he's bought him twice. Most recently at PSG, so he's a massive fan of him. And if he wants to bring him in, then who are we to question him? And it's all good and well saying, well, I wouldn't buy him, but you're telling me that what we've got at the moment is any better. Yeah. I know that you can go out and get other defenders. We're linked with Gabriel Magalhaes, aren't we, from Lille? Napoli are interested, Chelsea as well. Real good prospect. Brazilian 23s. You reckon 25 to 30 million will get him. Women's your favourite to get him as well. I was reading something about him the other day. I think it was like the French president of Lille was actually come out and said, "Oh well, we've had these bids from Chelsea and whatever, but we know Everton will pay more." Yeah. You know what I mean? And in the end, when you start ramping up like FFP and stuff like that, you think, well, actually, Everton shouldn't be the ones who be going, well, Everton are going to offer more. It's like, no, Everton are going to offer what we think the value of the player is. Not. Yeah. We're not in that position anymore where we're going to throw 45 million at Gylfi Sigurdsson. Yeah. We're going to pay what we think the player is worth. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to be held to ransom on players anymore. And I think that's something we need to be making sure that we're not getting dragged into bidding wars on players that we think, well, actually we can go elsewhere and get equal or better for the same money.
Yeah.
And not be thought of like Everton who got this big pot of money.
Yeah, and we've got to be smart in our negotiations 100%. I think, Sigurdsson's a prime example, 45 million. Davy Klaassen, the amount of money that we wasted has been absolutely ridiculous. But he's left-footed centre-back. Few teams interested in him. And then you've got Dayot, the other player from RP Leipzig, centre-back. Can't pronounce his second name. Upamecano, is it?
Were you the one looking at on loan?
I think to buy, to be fair. But I think Arsenal are favourites to get him. But again, there's players out there, obviously with the scouting system that we've got to go and get. But I think that Magalhaes is the one that we want, preferred one. So if he gets Thiago Silva to come in, and then obviously buys him as well as Holgate, it's a decent three. I don't think Keane will be long term. I don't think he'll be a fan of Keane. I don't think Keane's good enough technically to play the football that Ancelotti wants. We're all about playing out from the back, playing out against the high press.
Yeah.
Keane's technically not refined enough to be able to do that. But then you look at, there's a player there as well. He's probably going to go to someone like Barcelona, a defender for Benfica. I don't think you've seen him. Ruben Dias, centre-back. Spurs are interested in him, but he's an absolutely great player. He is physical, strong, can pass from left to right, switch play. So there is players out there to go and get. But like you said, it's getting the right one and getting them for a good amount of money. But it's difficult because, say for example, that player we're after now, if Chelsea are after him, Arsenal, Leicester, etc., it's probably going to go down to a bit more anyway, potentially. You know what I mean? So it's, the player might say, I want to go to Everton, but then if, Chelsea now bid us by another 2 or 3 mil, then he's going to go there. Yeah. So it's difficult market at the moment, and it's only going to get harder, but we need to offload a good few players first, and I'm interested to see who we put up for sale, to be honest.
What do you make of the rumours flying around about Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth?
I've done some stuff on him before, actually. Where did I do that stuff before? I checked out his stats and stuff, and obviously I think it was not this season, the season before. I think he got 14 assists and 7 goals. He was class, wasn't he, for the FPL players? Yeah. He's getting points every week. But I think this season, I think he's only got something like 1 goal and 4 assists. Obviously played like 9-10 games less. And he's obviously jumped ship, hasn't he? He doesn't want to play now. No, whether his contract up and he didn't want to sign new ones. Is that what the problem was?
Yeah, I think he's been offered one and he said no. He's refused the contract. But I was reading something like it's still going to cost us money. I think he's still in contract. I think they've offered him an extension and he said no. So I think he's got like another 18 months, a year left on his contract.
Yeah.
Because I was reading, it's going to be looking at a valuation around 22 million to get him from Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I like him. He's a good player. But then, when we've got players like Bernard and Iwobi who can also do that kind of role. You know what I mean? But it's whether, does Bernard... Because Bernard has been fit and available, but hasn't really featured a lot in Ancelotti's side. And similar with Iwobi, I know Iwobi's been injured or out of form himself. And it's like, would that signal the end of... we bought Iwobi last minute anyway. And I was very surprised when we had likes of Bernard in there.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, does he just become another one in the long line of players that we're buying for buying's sake? I'm hopefully, Ancelotti sees something in him and goes, okay, possibly, but I'm not gonna lose sleep if he didn't join Everton.
Yeah, I think now with that brand just going the way that he's spoken, Ancelotti, they're going to bring in a player who's going to make a difference. I think, it's showing that if you're going to get like a lot of players with a similar ability, you're not going to really progress in this league. You need to buy 2 or 3 world-class players who are a lot better than what you've got to push you to get the extra goals that you need to win games. And at the moment, we're just buying players who are all similar level, really. Obviously, apart from like Richarlison's obviously miles ahead of anyone else, really. But I think that's the way that we need to go. I think we're just going to buy, players who we're going to take, a chance on for 25 million, or someone who's not going to add much value to the team in terms of, a match winner. then there's no point. You've done that in the past. Do you know what I mean? So we need to get players who I think have got real potential, but also players who've done it in the Premier League, and I think that's really important. I think, you know, look at Davy Klaassen. You know, everyone's saying, "Oh, we should have kept him," and you know, he's great him now for where the Premier plays for now, is it?
Yeah.
He's great in it, but he didn't cut it in the Premier League. He didn't cut it. He was garbage. I watched him loads of times, and you're saying give him time and stuff, and yet maybe a bit more time. And Kuhn wasn't the greatest manager in the world, but again, that was another poor recruitment, buying 25 midfielders when we needed a centre forward.
When he was saying he was poor in the Premier League, we were playing in the Europa League as well, and he was poor then.
Oh, he was terrible. I went to the Europa League game, we played someone in there, and I was watching him. He wasn't a player who looked to get on the ball. If you know what I mean, he'd always shy away from his seat in tight areas, just like the game passed him by. And we need someone who can get on the ball in tight areas, get on it, you know, make things happen. And he was one of them players, but again, spent big money on him. So, you know, Ryan Fraser, you know, has got Premier League experience, but like you said, how much better would he make us?
Yeah.
And it's all about, you know, Ancelotti saying for the weekend he's going to stick his principles with a 4-4-2. Next season, he might be thinking, I'm going to play 4-3-3 because that's the way to go, and that's the way you win games with three narrow forwards and three ball winners in midfield who are really fast, energetic, and can travel with the ball. So only time will tell, and only he'll know what he wants to do. But I don't think you can play a 4-4-2 for every game next season. We'll need to be adaptable, I think.
No, we'll get punished way too much. I think that 4-4-2. I think it just helped us to the transition really, and just helped us get.
It's a basic understanding 4-4-2, and you know every player understands a 4-4-2. It's easy to coach. 3 units, easy, and I think that's what he's just trying to do, is get us over the line now, do as much as he can, and obviously from that bring his own players in. And like, you know, Thiago Silva, you can play in whatever formation you tell him to play in because you've got that much experience, and he's only going to help the likes of Mason Holgate. You know, bring in Thiago Silva, regardless if he's 55 or whatever age is, 35, you know, he's going to add something to the dressing room, 100%. You're telling me that Mason Holgate's going to be, bloody hell, Thiago Silva next to me.
Next to me, yeah.
Even if it's for a season, the guy's going to learn off him. At the moment, Holgate's learning off no one because he's the only centre-back that we've got who's half decent.
Yeah.
He's not learning off Michael Keane. You know, he's bailing Michael Keane out most games because he's too slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mean's injured every other week anyway. So, you know, I think, you know, it wouldn't be a bad shout to get him. I know it's going to be a lot of money and wages, but you're telling me, you know, Thiago Silva signed for Everton. How many kids are going to go and get Thiago Silva on the back?
Absolutely, yeah. So
in terms of revenue made back, and obviously Brazilians maybe then watching Everton play and stuff and whatever, and that type of fan base, whatever, it's only going to bring in more revenue for us. So I don't think it's a bad idea, to be honest.
Sad. Okay, so we'll wrap it up as we're coming down to it now. We've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including the show. We've got 9 games to go. That, as we said, that period that we got we got 5 games in the space of 12, 15 days there. They're coming thick and fast. Starting with the shite. Norwich away, Leicester at home, Spurs away, Southampton at home, and Wolves away. That is. And then we've got Villa, Sheffield United, and finish with Bournemouth on the 26th of July to be confirmed. What's your expectations then for these last 9 games of the season?
I would have been quite confident, to be honest, in terms of pushing up the league. I just think the problem at the moment is injuries. I think it's going to kill us. But again, I think other teams have obviously got a lot of players back. We haven't. But I think we're not going to really know until probably 2 games have been played in terms of where teams are up to. Because this is unprecedented, this. You know, they've had 4 weeks to try and get fit. You've seen the Arsenal game the other day, loads of injuries occurred straight away. So it's like, how have these clubs got the players fit? Are they fit enough to play for that long? You've seen players having cramp. People saying, well, why is the water breaks now? Well, there has to be because they haven't trained long enough or had any games to get to that level of fitness.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I know that we spoke with Barney the other day about, is it a good thing not having a pre-season game or not? Ancelotti agreed on that, and so what I said is he never had one for the fear of injuries. So again, Liverpool have had one, we haven't. So I think they, again, on Sunday going to be fitter than us. We're going to have players who mightn't be at that tempo for 90 minutes. But in terms of games, you'd say what? Norwich away, they're fighting for their lives, but it's a winnable game.
Yeah.
I think if you've got Charleston on the pitch and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think we can win games. Leicester home will be a difficult game. They've got all their players back now as well. I think they're gonna finish really strong. But again, they're beatable.
Yeah.
Maybe a draw against them. Spurs away. You've got Harry Kane back. They need to finish in the top 4.
That's mad. I still think that's mad that Harry Kane was out for the season, and so was Heung-min Son. They're both out for the rest of the season. Now they're available.
Yeah.
Ages. You almost think they were out for the season. They can't play. They're not allowed to play.
So obviously they've got the games that are left, the 9 games or whatever. And they need to win everyone that they can. So that'll be a tough game as well. But again, they haven't been playing well. But with Harry Kane back, he obviously did a lot better with Harry Kane. Southampton at home, very beatable. But again, they've been on a decent run before the finish. And then the Wolves away, they're pushing for Europe. So on paper, they're all tough games due to relegation factors and obviously due to European aspirations as well. So
yeah,
I'd be happy to see us finish 8th. What are we now? We're 4 points off Spurs now. I think Arsenal aren't going to finish that strong. I think the squad's poor. Burnley have got a few players missing. Palace have 2. So I think realistically, 8th or 9th is a realistic finish for us this season.
Yeah, I think it's good that we've got Norwich and Southampton in between these 2 games, and they're playing each other today. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of side gets put out and how they fare. As you're saying, injuries with Arsenal took its toll really, really quickly. Like in opening minutes, people were out injured. Within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Both teams ended up being down to 10 men at one point because you'd use all the subs.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. But it'd be interesting to see the Norwich Southampton game today and see how that goes. And then obviously, Villa are going to be scrapping for everything. Sheffield United are going to be, as you said, European aspirations, and Bournemouth again, just mid-table, are all going to be pushing for it. So it's a bit of a mixed bag with the remaining games in our season. It's difficult to judge at the moment. I think once we've seen the derby, then we'll be able to get a better understanding of where this Everton side is, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in terms of teams pushing on, I think that if you look at the table now, I think you're going to get a real big, massive push now from the likes of Leicester, Chelsea, United. I think United are going to really go for it. And obviously got all their players fit as well. So I think it's a battle for them now to be catching Chelsea in 4th. So we'll see how that goes. In terms of the weekend, score-wise, what you're hoping for?
This is the derby. I mean,
Do you think it'll help us not having the crowd or not? Or do you think? Cause I know that Adam Partington was speaking before. Obviously, when we got the 0-0 last season, and it was a horrible place, wasn't it? Goodison Park. It was horrible. Like the atmosphere was electric. Definitely had a 12th man on our side on that day. But in terms of like Davis is going to be playing now, you've got Holgate, maybe Gordon. Would that happen? Not having the crowd, maybe potentially.
The pressure is definitely off there. I think most certainly. Yeah. I think if we can come away with a result, I'll be happy. Yeah. If we win, then I think we should play behind. I'll be playing behind closed doors going forward.
I'll be gutted if we lose. If we win the derby, we've actually gutted. Like last time we won there was 2010. It's ridiculous. Like 10 years ago. Since '99, we've beaten them 5 times, and one of them was the FA Cup game.
Yeah.
2010, when we beat them, CeeLo Green was number 1 in the charts. We'd forget you or whatever. Like, how long goes that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it would be prime Everton to go and get a 1-0 winning. No one to win it.
Well, Matt Jones came up with a couple of stats earlier on. I was just reading on Twitter. We've scored once at Goodison since 2013, and that was Lukaku in 2015. And since then, we've led for a total of 23 minutes.
Yeah.
And all the all games with Goodison. So what's that? Another 6 or 7 games since 2013, and it's no.
He's just a proper. I don't know. It's just one of them things. We just bottle it, don't we? Every single time, or we have a terrible referee, which we've got another one again on Sunday.
All three. You got Dean, you've got Kavanagh, and you've got there's another one of them was fourth official as well, but Kavanagh's on VAR.
Yeah.
So if Hawkeye's not working at Villa Park, then VAR is probably not going to be working at Goodison. I think we'll wait and see, mate. I'll be happy with the draw, just to give the team that confidence then to go on and say, all right, well, these games are going to come thick and fast now. You can get results against the big boys. So these other ones, Norwich, Southampton, Villa, Sheffield United, Wolves, Bournemouth. The only ones I would really be panicking over would probably be Leicester and Spurs. Then,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'd like to have that cushion to say, well, actually, you went out there and you played really well against them. You got a good result against the Red Shite. You've got the capability to go on and beat these teams and also get something else out of the rest of the games that are going forward.
Yeah. That's definitely got to be the incentive to push. And I think seeing the season out, Ancelotti's had 11 games there now. He'll know what players he's going to want there next season, what players he doesn't want there. And I think within this period, it'll be a time to reflect and with brands and saying, listen, these are the players that we want to get. These players need to go. Yeah. And I think next season will be a really interesting one. But like you said, we need to get the right players in. We really do. But in terms of Liverpool, in terms of the game on Sunday, their away form, they played 14, won 12, drawn 1. I think against United, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And then they lost against Watford.
Watford, yeah.
Scored 26, only conceded 9 goals, and obviously 3 of them were against Watford. So they had a well-drilled team, and they're difficult to break down. But I think the longer we can stay in the game for, the more we've got a chance.
Yeah.
I think they come out really intense. They pressure, they stop you getting on the ball. But if you look at the Champions League game, the Atletico Madrid game, when it got to like the 70th minute, 75th minute, Liverpool sort of lost their energy in terms of the pressing. I think they got, the same back from Atletico Madrid, because Atletico Madrid were just giving as good as they got. So I think if you can match Liverpool for 60, 70 minutes, the game then gets a little bit more open in terms of players not closing down, then you've got a chance. I think, Richarlison on the pitch, you've always got a chance of getting a goal, but my concern is obviously the back four and obviously the lack of pace. I think we'll be relying massively on Mason Holgate's pace at the weekend. But in terms of their goals, they concede 24% of the goals they conceded in the 71st to the 80th minute, and then 14% in the 81st to 90, and then a few 19% after half time, 51 to 60. So the majority of their goals are from the 70th to 90th minute that they concede, which totally shows that you drop off the pressing, because in terms of the high press they do for so long. So you can stay in the game for 70 minutes and get a little set piece, little Gordon onto McAkeen's head. Glad the street end empty. That would work well. So, yeah. So really.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up, mate, because I'm going to go make me tea. But no, Callum, nice one for having a chat with us, mate. I always appreciate you coming on. If you want to know more about with Callum over what we've spoken about in the video today, you can get you on Twitter at
WF Analyst.
There we go. And if you want to follow us on Falcon Blues, it's at Falcon Blues TV. Also, make sure you're going on falconblues.bigcartel.com. Pick yourself up a Run DCL t-shirt. You probably won't get it before the derby now, but use the code Colin Chong, all one word, block capitals, to get 20% off anything on the shop. Callum, nice one for joining us, mate. I really appreciate it. As I said,
hopefully we can, all being well, we can do like a little one in midweek or whatever after the derby.
Definitely. We'll catch up on like Monday or Tuesday or something. Maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. See how we go. And we'll do a review of the derby and see how pick the bones out of it more than anything.
Yeah, up the toffees.
Sounds. So up the toffees, Colin Chong, and I'll catch you soon.